Looks like we got a connection. And so I'm back to talk a little bit more about a license to practice law. I'm going to talk some more about a license to practice law. So, how do I want to start here? Between YouTube and Rumble, the last video's got about 70 views, somewhere maybe between 70 and 75 views. So that's a start. That's a start. Maybe there's 70 some people out there that will start talking about the fact that there is no State Department, there is no federal department, there is no department anywhere that issues a license to practice law. It simply does not exist. And that's keeping it stupidly simple. How much research do you need to do? How much research do you need to do to figure that out? I'm doing a little, trying to do a little adjustment on the camera here. The screen, it seems real small on Rumble for whatever reason. And I don't have a external microphone. I got to use the microphone that is on the telephone, on the little computer, the little handheld computer, right? That has phone service. Hey, we got one person here. Welcome, welcome. I'm gonna drill down on this issue of the issue of a license to practice law. It's pure fuckery. And so you don't have to go into a ton of research. You don't have to learn the legal profession. You don't have to learn about the lawful courts when the American Republic was standing, right? It is so simple. Where do you get a license to practice law? You don't. You can't. But yet you got these British agents telling you that you need a license to practice law. Now, these are supposedly Americans. These are supposedly Americans. All right, your sheriffs, your state police, your city police, your township police, your village police, all these policy departments. Guy's got the badge, right? Got the gun, right? Can tell you can't do this, you can't do that. They fucking, I mean, it is, I don't have to tell you. So I appreciate the comments. And in the last talk, I was asked, what do we do? And I said, tell people. Everyone you get a chance to talk with, ask them, where do you get a license to practice law? You got any idea? I'm thinking I want to practice law. Where can I get a license to practice law? And when they tell you they don't know, you say, well, it's because there is no place to go get a license to practice law. That might make a light go off. All right. So I've been thinking more about the question, what can we do? So I'll tell you what I did. I'm going to tell you what I did a long, long time ago. Um, in fact, I think I can tell you what year it was. If I look here, um, huh, 20. It looks like 2021. It looks like 2021. So, what did I do in 2021? Well, I went to the sheriff's department as prosecutor. You want to know how I could do that? Well, anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. And I'm going to do my best to prove it to you. I'm going to do my best to prove it to you. And number one, there is no license to practice law. It doesn't exist. So that ought to get you going down the right path. Now, I want to clarify that the days of the United States of America, the Republic, are gone. The days of the United States of America, non corporation republic with common law, are gone. What you have today, what we have today, is a rogue government. You see, we have been enslaved for generations by a corporate government masquerading as a republic and always crying about us being a threat to their democracy. Um, and uh, so the republic and common law of the past is exactly that. It's a thing of of the past. Um, and so what we have now is basically we have lawless territory. Lawless territory. Now, who do you want making your laws? Americans. Do you want British agents making your laws? Do you want to keep paying these sheriffs and these police departments to enforce the British law that's slaving you, that's doing all this terrible shit to us? Um, I, right now, I'm trying to find an incandescent light bulb, and I can't get one. Right? I mean, that's the good light. That's the good light. No, we got to have toxic light. We can't have good light. That's why they tell you not to be out in the sun because they don't want you to have the good light. So I'm trying to give you all some good light here on the situation. So it can't get any simpler than that. There is no license to practice law. Prove me wrong. There is no State Department that issues a license to practice law. Prove me wrong. There is no federal department that issues a license to practice law. Prove me wrong. And when you find out that you can't prove me wrong, then maybe you're ready to go to the next step in your thought processes of how you're going to deal with that situation, right? So in 2021, I was at the Sheriff's Department, the Calcasieu County Sheriff's Department, to meet with the Calcasieu County Sheriff as prosecutor. Now, I had been prosecuting for some time. I prosecuted Gretchen Whitmer. She is a bar card carrying bitch, in addition to being the governor for Michigan. And that's probably the first time that Gretchen was ever in a court of law, a court of land, air, and water. Remember, I'm telling you that I'm convinced that the word law is Babylonian fuckery. They took an acronym that stood for courts of land, air, and water and made a word out of it, law. And then they did their shit with the legal, right? And they did away with the lawful. And they tell us that these legal courts are courts of law, right? No, they're not. They're courts of corporate policy. Corporate policy. And it's all predatory. So I went to the Calcasieu County Sheriff's Office as prosecutor. Gretchen Whitmer pled guilty. Okay. Why do I say okay? That's stupid. Gretchen Whitmer pled guilty. Got it? The head of the DEA, the head of the USPTO, and many others pled guilty. So I'm there as prosecutor. Court has been held, and the sheriff needs to do his job. See? But the sheriff ain't going to meet with me. He's not going to meet with me, no matter how long I stay. I've been there for hours. Yeah, he's not going to meet with me. I've been trying for months and months. He will not meet with me. See, that fucker can't face me. So eventually, they told me that I'd meet with the undersheriff, but no, that didn't happen. It was the jail sergeant, and I was able to record. It's less than 20 minutes. It's less than 20 minutes. And I'm going to put the link to that YouTube video in the comments of this Rumble and this YouTube. After this video is done and they have uploaded, I'm going to go into the comments and I'm going to paste the link. And the title of the video is Own Your Authority, Part 10. / Me and My Sheriff's Department, Part 2. So it's Own Your Authority 10, and it's also Me and My Sheriff's Department, Part 2. So obviously I had a video earlier with Me and My Sheriff's Department, right? So the video that I was able to capture, in the beginning, I hold the camera on the jail sergeant. You get to see his face. You get to hear a couple words come out of his mouth, and then I set the phone down, and it's pointing up at the ceiling. I needed both of my hands because I had a lot of paperwork. And a lot of paperwork in the briefcase. I needed two hands. So capturing the audio was my goal. And I did. But it was a 2.5 hour meeting, and I got less than 20 minutes. And as I said, that video ended beautifully. And so I'm going to play the last couple of minutes. I'm going to play the last couple of minutes of it. The sound quality could be better, but hopefully you're going to be able to hear it all right. So I have 48 state constitutions and available in a PDF because I scanned them all in a PDF, and it's titled 48 Love Letters, and it's on my website. And the reason it's titled 48 Love Letters is to disguise it, because my website has been hacked multiple times, and they locked it up. You could get to the PDF, but you couldn't access it. They had it locked up, and they've also gone in and fucked with it. They deleted something out of New York's Constitution, and it was important. It was so important that they fucking hacked my fucking website, got into the fucking file, and fucking deleted something out of that New York state constitution. That's how fucking important it was. And I can't tell you what it was. There's just no way for me to remember everything that I have learned, everything that I have done. I mean, so much so that I got the question in the live chat on the last talk: what can we do? And so, quick thinking, I said, well, start talking to people. Ask them. Everybody that you meet, everyone that you get a chance to talk to, ask them, do you know where I can get a license to practice law? I'm thinking we got to straighten things out. I need a license to practice law. All right. And again, they're going to tell you no. And then you get the chance to tell them that's because there is no such thing as a license to practice law. Now, this is from the Alabama Constitution, Section 10. Section 10, the Alabama Constitution. Text of Section 10, right to prosecute civil cause. That no person shall be barred from prosecuting or defending before any tribunal in this state by himself or counsel. Doesn't say attorney. By himself or counsel to any civil cause, or no, himself or counsel, comma, any civil cause to which he is a party. So I'll read that one more time. That no person shall be barred from prosecuting or defending before any tribunal in this state by himself or counsel any civil cause to which he is a party. It's right there. All right, that's Alabama State Constitution. And this is available for everybody for free. I have nothing for sale. I can't sell a coffee cup because nobody has the balls to buy a coffee cup from me. I can't sell a t-shirt. I can't give away a fucking joint. All right. Georgia Constitution. Georgia, what does Georgia Constitution say? Paragraph XII. What is it, 12? I think that's 12. Right to the courts. No person shall be deprived the right to prosecute or defend, either in person or by an attorney. Doesn't say bar attorney, it says attorney, that person's own cause in any of the courts of this state. Now, there's another one. There's another state constitution, and it talks about any tribunal. And my Bluetooth shut off. I got to turn it back on. Because I'm going to play the video for you. Bluetooth connected. So there you go. Georgia and Alabama. Now, but Ethan, that's Georgia and Alabama. I live in Florida. I live in Texas. Or you look like me. You live in Michigan, right? Well, got to remember, this is back in the days of the United States of America, a republic, converted into a corporation. But so I don't have the original state constitutions. I don't have any original. I couldn't find an original state constitution anywhere. They've all been fucked with. They've all got full of bar fuckery. But there's things in there. So when inalienable, undefeasible rights were written in state constitutions for clarity, these are the kind of things you can find by reading the state constitution. You're not going to find any of that in that corporate federal constitution. And that's why I went to the state constitutions, because I want to know what they said about rights. So I'm not talking about where rights come from or anything else. I'm talking about state constitutions and what was written. And that's law. So, all right, so you don't live in Alabama or Georgia. So what? Common law across the common land. So if you live in America and you have rights, your rights cannot exist here in this location of America and not have those rights in another location in America, okay? I'm trying to keep this as simple as I possibly can. So what can you do? What can you do? Well, I tell you what I did using postal mechanics and a judicial process, and some very good paperwork. I held court time and time and time again. Court of law, high court, court of the people. And I won every case. So now I want restitution. I want justice. I want these parasites fucking locked up. I want justice. And I want restitution. And I want the persecution to end. I want the attacks to end. So I did those things. And so I'm going to start this off at, it's 15 minutes and 8 seconds. This video is only 18 minutes and so many seconds long. So what you're going to hopefully hear, the audio clear enough, you'll be able to hear the jail sergeant tell me that I can prosecute my own cause in any court. Now, he's going to stumble around a little bit, right? He's going to want to start talking about, well, you can defend. Wait a minute, buddy. I can prosecute. Okay. So this is what you're going to hear. So you want to know, what can you do? I'm going to tell you what I did. Can you do it? Well, I don't know. You got people walking around without a spine. Now, to me, that's fucking miraculous. I mean, that's fucking incredible. How can all these spineless men fucking walk around? How do you walk without a spine? This is fucking mind-boggling to me. But at any rate, I digress. I'm gonna play this, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, and as such, accountable. Accountable for what?
Conduct.
Wherefore, whenever the ends of government are perverted and the public liberty manifestly endangered, and all other means of redress are ineffectual, the people may and ought and of right ought to reform the old or establish a new government. The doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary power and oppression is absurd, slavish, and destructive of the good and happiness of mankind. Right? Yep. All right, that's law. It shall be the duty of the General Assembly to enact such laws as will protect them in full enjoyment of the rights, privileges, and what's that say?
Immunities.
Immunities. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you have immunity to anything that goes against any of your rights. Right to courts.
Yep.
No person shall be deprived the right to prosecute or defend their either in person or by attorney that person's own case in any of the courts of the state. So that's any court in any state.
Yep.
Right?
You have that right.
Who can prosecute their own case?
Well, you can have your attorney.
No. Either in person or
by an attorney.
By an attorney.
That's just
either in person.
Yep.
I don't need an attorney. Or.
Yep.
Or means either or.
Yep.
So
you can either have your in person or have your attorney do it for you.
I can do it.
Yes.
I can prosecute my own case.
Yes.
Cool. All right. The bar, isn't it? So there you go. There you go. So what can you do? First thing you can do is fact check me and prove to yourself that there is no such thing as a license to practice law. Then you have a foundation. Now you have something to stand on. You actually have something that might reassemble a spinal cord in your back. Right? You might actually reassemble a spinal cord in your back so that you can stand as a man and do the things that are right, the things that men should be doing. What else can you do? You can start holding court. You can start educating. Now, I educated that jail sergeant. And like I said, in the beginning, he refused to take any of my paperwork. But I was there with an order for arrest as prosecutor with many, many court cases where the likes of Gretchen Whitmer's pled guilty to warring on the people. And those court cases are available on the website. It's actually 2 PDF files because it was a stack of paperwork like this and it was too much for the scanner. too much for this industrial scanner. So it had to be 2 loads. So there's part 1, part 2, and that's Camp Grayling Gretchen or Gretchen Camp Grayling. I can't remember the order, but it's Camp Grayling and Gretchen is what you're looking for. PDF 1, PDF 2. And you can go and review the paperwork, because that paperwork is also a case that I put on 3 garrison commanders at Camp Grayling, ordering them to readiness and report for duty. I left a pile of paper over there, but you go through those state constitutions and you'll see almost every one of them says exactly the same thing. The military shall be strictly subordinate to the civil authority, or the military shall be in strict subordination to the civil authority. Virtually every state constitution read the same. There was only 3 state constitutions I could find that talked about your right to the courts. And remember, every one of them has had bar fuckery. Every one of them. So you start to see why none of these motherfuckers can face me. I mean, I have the science on oral health with cannabis. I have the evidence. I have the science. And I have a right to industry. But I'm fucking hammered at every fucking level and internationally. So to the point where there's so much fear mongering. Come December this year, my signage out at the road will be 2 years old. My advertising for free weed, free seed, free plants, free clones will be 2 years old in December. And how many takers have I had? 0. Not even one. Not one fucking spine. Not one spine. Not one man with a spine has been able to stand up. So I'm trying to make this as simple as I can. It looks like there's a comment in the live chat. So I'm going to take a look. Seawell says, hire an attorney makes you incompetent and a ward of this court by common law's definition. Or something like that. I think she means to say I heard Seawell. He or she, I'm not sure. Says hiring an attorney makes you incompetent and I think it's trying to say ward. It says war and then DOF, ward of the court by common law's definition. Well, common law is void. It's void. We're living in the now time, now space reality, and the government, the corporate governments the federal government had its 3rd and final bankruptcy in 1999. The federal government's rogue. The state government is rogue. The military is rogue. The military has been rogue since 1871. And the military has not had civil authority to be subordinate to. And this is why I put on my big boy pants, put on my big boy shoes, prosecuted and prosecuted and prosecuted, and then took all that evidence to Camp Grayling and put 3 garrison commanders in court and ordered them to readiness and report for duty. So, have we seen results yet? I guess it depends on how you want to look at it. So that was in 2021. Fast forward to 2023, I gave the American people a land location for a court of law. And I called the sheriff, Calcasieu County Sheriff, Undersheriff, Chief of Police, judge, prosecutor, postmaster, court clerk, called them all into court. And who showed up but the military with Black Hawk helicopters? And about 2 months prior to the day of court, I was getting these flyovers that didn't make any sense to me. And I thought about it long and hard and studied the planes and ultimately concluded it was Coast Guard. So 2 years, excuse me, 2 years, excuse me, 2 years after the fact that I ordered military command to readiness and report for duty. It was 2 years roughly until they showed up. And did they show up to talk with me? Did they show up to, they showed up to communicate. They showed up to communicate. And then spent the next 2 years communicating with me on a daily basis that way. And holy shit. Man, oh man, these last couple of years, the things that I have experienced here with these communications from the military is it made the chart because there was no fucking chart before. It made the chart and it broke the chart. I mean, it's off the chart. It made the chart and it's off the chart. That's so something is definitely going on. Something is definitely going on. So fast forward one more year to 2024. I went down to the court, and as the man with the highest lawful position, because when I went to Camp Grayling as prosecutor, I was also executive emergency manager for Michigan. Executive emergency manager, highest lawful authority. Using postal mechanics in the judicial process. I put my big boy pants on, I put my big boy shoes on, and I stood tall. And so a year later, 2024, I go down to the court and I gave authorizations to Michigan Military Command. And that video is also available on YouTube. The next day, the Air Force was here with 4 fighter jets in formation, a fingers 4 formation, giving me a salute. Now, you can't fucking make this shit up. Something is going on. Something is going on. And then this year, summertime, late spring or early summer, I think, the military jets were back in formation, but this time they went old school with a Vic. And I captured that. The Vic is a precursor to the fingers 4. The Vic is old school. They went old school on me, and they also went very sophisticated. They went very sophisticated because they're in formation. The middle bird is out in front, and then one on the right and one to the left, and they're back, but they're not side by side either. One is further back than the other, and they're leaving trails. They're leaving trails, 3 trails. You see 3 trails through the sky, all from the time they're coming in until the time they're out of view. And then almost very shortly after they've flown out of view, the trails that they left dissipate rapidly, except directly over my head. 3 trails side by side. Now think about that. Engage your brain and think about the fact that on those planes, they have controls to spit a trail out the back that will dissipate and vanish quickly. They also have the ability to pop a trail out that is going to stay together and hold. And for those 3 trails to be side by side like that and directly over my head means that they had to either program the computer or they had to manually, with split-second timing, throw a switch to change whatever's coming out of the back of that bird to be a communication trail that's going to stay. And so this is all captured on video. That one is captured on video. And the significance of that one, I think, is I created a helicopter landing zone for the military last year. And then this spring and early summer, I drastically enlarged it. I took out a lot of trees. I burnt a lot of trees, and I made a big, big opening out there for them to come and pour it in. They need to pour it in. They do. So yeah, a Vic. See if there's any more comments. Big Stank, yo, Big Stank. Hey, brother. Good to see you here. Good to see you here. Anybody got any questions? Now is the time to let them rip. So the website, oralhealthwithcannabis.com, www.oralhealthwithcannabis.com. And then you go to the services page and then look through the documents section and you will find 48 love letters. And you can download that for free. For free. And then you can word search it. And there's 3 states in there that talk about your right to the courts. And again, how in the days of rights, right? In the days of rights, and common law, that means common law across the land. You can't have a right in Alabama that you don't have in California, et cetera, right? So what can you do? First thing you can do is keep it stupidly simple for yourself. Step number 1, verify there is no license to practice law. Verify there is no State Department, There is no federal department or agency that issues, grants, gives a license to practice law. Comprehend that you are existing in a now time, now space scenario where all these impersonators and invaders and usurpers that are warring on us are rogue Americans. Rogue Americans. The military, rogue. Allowing all this shit to happen. And the American men keep putting on the fucking uniform, which disgusts the shit out of me. If you're going to put the fucking uniform on, then go take out the fucking heads. Do your fucking job. Enemies, foreign and domestic. If that's your fucking commander, well, do what you need to do, baby. There's an awesome YouTube video put out by Cop Block. Cop Block. When should you shoot a cop? If you have not listened to that video, I highly recommend you listen to that video. You search YouTube. Cop Block is the channel. So that helps to bring it up. Type in Cop Block. When should you shoot a cop? It's a short video, but it's very well done. Very, very, very well done. And that I think is vitamins or nutritious or supplemental to rebuild a spine in your back. Because that's what you need. You need to have a spine. I can't. I was listening to a Western the other day. I listen to Westerns almost every day. Listen and watch old Westerns. And I heard that line for the first time that I remember. I probably heard it before in my life, maybe used similarly, but the guy said to this fucking pussy, he says, "How can you walk without a spine?" And so that's why I'm using that. Because we have a bunch of spineless fucking men. Spineless. And you need a spine. You need nerve. And you need confidence. Knowledge can be powerful if you use the knowledge. And that's why you need the truth. So fact check me. You can't prove me wrong about a department, state or federal agency, anything that issues a license to practice law. A bar card is a private member club like Costco. Like a Costco card. But it's far worse than a Costco card because it is the British accredited Regency. Let's see if we got any more comments. No more comments. So there I've read you two of the state constitutions that back in the day when rights, people knew they had rights, and those rights were put into writing as law in a state constitution, they knew they had the right to prosecute their own cause. And I'm a damn good prosecutor, baby. I am a hell of a prosecutor. I'm a good investigator. And you can be too. Now, don't think for a minute that these years haven't been scary for me. But you know what? Life has been scary. Like from the time of going to school and dealing with bullies, uh, all through life. And people do dangerous things, right? I mean, they go skiing down mountains, they go climbing straight walls, mountains. Uh, yeah, Men do a tremendous amount of dangerous things. Many occupations that men do are extremely dangerous, and and accidents are horrifying. They're traumatic, and they are scary when they're in process. And um, the knowledge that you are in an environment that is so dangerous is something that brings out fear. But you override the fear, don't you, men? You override that fear. The firefighters override that fear when they rush into the burning building, right? Right. So the men do it professionally and they do it recreationally. But when are you going to do it for morality? When are you going to do it for the right reason? And what could be more right for we the people than to have a judicial process that is fair and effective? Fair and effective. So, again, I don't know that there's a state that qualifies today as a state because there is no government. You have usurpers, imposters, manipulators, brainwashers, road pirates destroying our way of life. And it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. So, what can you do? That was the question that was asked to me. What can you do? Now, does anybody have a question for me before I close this video out? I might go on talking for another 15 minutes. I might close out of here in the next 2 minutes. I don't know. But does anybody have a question? We got one person here. You're the brave one. And the live chat is empty. So, holy shit, really? I've been talking for almost an hour. It seems like about 10, 15 minutes. All right. I made my point. I made my point, didn't I? I did. So maybe in another couple of days, 70 so people will catch this video and have that in their have that in hand. Have that in hand. Have that to put in their pipe and smoke. All right, everybody. I love you. And I'm praying that the men will grow spines. And maybe you ladies can help. Maybe you can help. Stop with the emasculation, man bashing. The men do better when they have support, when they have love in their life. And so, ladies, your role can be very important in this. It's not your job. It's not your job to grow a spine. It's not your job to go and face the tyrants. It's not your job to educate the dogs. All right, that jail sergeant boot scoot boogied with the entire jail staff. The prosecutor fucking resigned, and nobody told me. I had to find it out for myself probably over a year later, simply because I was doing a search on how to spell the prosecutor's name. Perot. That's a tough one to spell for me, anyways. And so I'm doing a search for Calcasieu County prosecutor because I know I'll find his name that way. And that's when I found out he resigned. Now that video, Own Your Authority Part 10, looks like I put that up in November, but it actually happened in June. And June 28th, I'm very confident it was June 28th. And it was before the end of July that the prosecutor, in the middle of his third term, that fucking son of a bitch who prosecuted me, who ran that, him and Butt Day, Judge Butt Day, that kangaroo court, and my attorney, my British agent, Scott Isles, was there that day representing another man that was given immunity to testify against me. And he walked out of that courtroom, walked right by me, said, "You don't need me." How do they operate court when the accused has no counsel? Not only did they do that, the fucking prosecutor took me out in the hall in the middle of my fucking proceeding and threatened me. The motherfucker resigned. So what are you going to do? Have you even started talking to people about where do you get a license to practice law? That's your first step. Have you done the research even to verify that you cannot prove me wrong? Have you even done the research that you cannot prove me wrong? There is no department that issues a license to practice law. All right, everybody. I love you. I'm glad that you tuned in and listened to this. I hope it makes a difference in your life. Hope it makes a difference in the lives for the American people and the people of the world. All right, I'm autographing out of here.